From the rolling valleys, across rivers and lakes, to the highest mountains. Adventure takes preparation and research. Plan your next journey of discovery for what's to come. Hi. So, where do we start? You've only got to look on Instagram and take a look at some of the amazing ideas that people are coming up with nowadays. And with the social media platforms that we have now, the amount of exposure that you can get. It's like walking into an ice cream shop where you've got every flavor of ice cream that you could possibly imagine, and then somebody says, pick one. And it's really, really hard to come up with an idea or even just an area that you want to work on. But hopefully, just talking now will kind of like narrow that down a little bit, or go through some ways we can narrow that down. I think one of the most important things is just your ability to stay curious about the world around you. And also, at the same time, retain an element of wonder about the world around you as well. And if you do that, if you maintain your curiosity, if you keep yourself open to new ideas, new knowledge, and allow yourself to be surprised, then ideas and opportunities will actually find you. You'll find them incidentally. One of the easiest places to start is to start with the question, what is my passion? What do I love? What lights a fire underneath me? And that's really, really important. If we take my photography, for example, I was asked a question once about whether or not I like photography, or I love photography, or you must love photography. And actually the answer is that, yeah, I actually enjoy photography, but what I really enjoy is people. I love the subject matter. And that, for me, is where my passion lies. So it can be anything, but it has to be something that's meaningful to you. Annie Leibovitz, I'm going to paraphrase now, but Annie Leibovitz came out with a quote where she said, find what's important to you. Find a story that you want to tell, yeah, and then just go out with a camera and tell that story. If you're not emotionally invested in what you're trying to achieve, then it will show. Maybe not to other people who are looking from the outside, but definitely to you. And you've got to enjoy what you're doing, because, and we'll look at this a little bit later on, it's not easy. Once you get into the bare bones of going on an expedition, creating a trip, planning an adventure, the amount of work that's involved at the front end far outweighs what happens at the back end. And you've got to be prepared to put the time in and to invest all that physical and emotional energy in training and logistics to be able to realize your dream. And you will be tested. And if you don't love what you're doing, then that's going to make life a lot harder. So that brings me on to kind of like the next important step, or at least for me anyway, and that's adventure with purpose. You can go out if you want to be the first person to climb Everest in a bowler hat, or the fastest person to cycle around the Isle of Wight, or something like that. Then that's fine, and you'll get the accolade for that and some recognition. But one thing that I've realized, it's pretty short-lived. If you are the focal point of your journey, if you're the focal point of your story, and the story is a finite goal, and a finite achievement, then there's a big spike in recognition. But it's very short-lived. It doesn't last very long at all. Before you then have to go and find the next big thing to do. To take yourself, for me, and this is a personal preference, to take yourself out of the frame, not entirely, because you're always going to be part of the narrative, but to take yourself out of the frame, and to make the focus of your journey, expedition, adventure, whatever it is that you're planning, something significant. Whether you're telling a story, or raising awareness of a place or a person or an initiative, or a social situation, it doesn't matter. The main fact is that your reason for doing what you're doing has now got depth, and with that depth comes a lot more satisfaction and a lot more meaning. So let me give you an example. If I was going to walk from here to Scotland, it's a very long way. I'm going to do it all on my own. I'm going to do it unsupported. And when I get to the other end, I may have raised money for charity, or as I say, just be the first person to do it in the shortest amount of time. The way that you might change that to give it more purpose, more depth, is you might have a look at a social situation on the way. So let's take homelessness. So as you're walking through the UK from county to county, you're looking at the problem of homelessness on the streets within the area. You're talking to people, interviewing people, talking to councils, getting research, getting data. And then by the time you finished your journey, you've actually got a really good overview of homelessness in the UK, which you can then take away. You can then report on, you can then write about, make a short documentary, whatever it is you're going to do. But it's changed this. It hasn't changed what you've done. It hasn't changed the fact that you managed to get from A to B and you did it all on your own. But what you've done is you've added this other dimension to it, which makes it, one, more interesting for you on the way, because, and believe you me, after you've waved goodbye to everybody and everyone's cheered you on and it's just you walking on your own, the days can get pretty long and pretty boring sometimes. And to have that extra initiative that you've got in the background, it definitely keeps you going and keeps you focused and gives you purpose on your journey. But also it makes it a lot more interesting for other people. And they're going to be a lot more interested in hearing about what you did, knowing why you did it, reading about it. And then the last thing about that is that the interest in that and the value of what you did isn't over as soon as you reach your end goal. Yeah, it carries on afterwards. The information that you recorded, that you retained, that you generated on that journey has got interest far beyond the point at which you finished that journey. I've already mentioned earlier on about social media and the amount of exposure that we can get nowadays for our projects and our journeys. And this is where this adventure with purpose really becomes important. There's a responsibility that we have when we go out of our front door, when we leave the country or we leave on one of our journeys. One of them for me, as I've already mentioned, is this responsibility to ensure that we're not wasting that journey, that we're actually doing it for a reason. In addition to making a difference, we also have a responsibility when we go out to be an advocate. At the same time, we're also representative of where we come from. We're representative of the adventure industry, which is a really big industry, and we pave a way for everybody else that comes after us. So having a purpose, going out with an idea, caring about what you do, going out with your passion, being emotionally invested in the adventure that you're going to undertake, in the journey that you're going to undertake, it is going to reflect in everything that you do and how that journey takes shape, and in a lot of ways how successful that journey is at the end of the day.